Hello YouTube, SWLA Make 84. The video's probably gonna be a little loud because I got my air conditioner going. Got my delivery in. Here's my failed attempt at a tube that I'll keep around and maybe try to separate one of these days. And here's my other half, which is still just fine. Here's my wonderfully packaged new set of 3 tubes from Speedy Metals. And I really hate their packing, but they're cheap and it gets here pretty quick. So I'm gonna get this unpacked here. That one wasn't so bad. Had one time where they just wrapped all the tubes with tape. Alright. Huh. And this tube, it doesn't have the black finish on it, which kind of worries me. All these other stock tubes that I get have this black finish that tells me it's been annealed and then with a oil coating on to keep it from rusting. But these here, that's a gloss metal finish. I hope that cuts like it's supposed to. But that's 3 6.5 pieces. So I'm gonna make the other half of my tube out of that. So I'm gonna get reset up in the lathe and I'll be over there in a second. Alright, let's get this chucked up. And I'm not going to put it all the way. I'm going to leave a small gap there because it's not going to be an even face. This is a soft cut surface there. So I don't want it to put it in a bind or anything. And this is just my 3-job chuck. Gonna get that snugged up. Put an indicator on here so I can get an idea of exactly how far out it is. Alright, so I've got an indicator on here. Just see how bad it is. So that's about 15 thousandths out. So we'll have to take at least 15 thousandths off this OD to get it to clean up and be concentric. And I have mounted this stuff up in the 4-jaw and dialed the OD in to where I was within a half. And then I go to the inside and I'm 10 out. So I'm not even gonna try to put it in the 4-jaw. I'm just gonna snug the crap out of it here so that it's good and tight. And I'm gonna start taking material off to see if I can get a concentric OD. Okay, and I'm going to run this at 600 RPM. About a 6 thousandths per revolution feet. And I'm not going to put any coolant on this because I'm running the air conditioner and I don't feel like smelling it. still see here, I've got an area that hasn't cleaned up. And that's 30 thousandths I've taken off that OD already. Alright, 40 thousandths cleaned it up. Get some of these big chips out of here before they start flinging around. I'm just roughing it out with this big carbide. I'm going to use this fine little high-speed steel bit that I ground to just take off a couple thousandths at a time until I get a good clean OD. It's on a super fine feed, but I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna face this off just so that it'll be clean. Still got a little bit to go. A little bit more. Okay. And that's 100% cleaned up. Push over to my fine tool. I'm gonna square it up. I'm gonna switch to 360 RPM. And my finest feed. And I'll run a little bit of oil on this just because it's not going to smoke the place up. I'm going to come in and find zero and make a cut. I'm going to come in and find zero and make a cut. And I really only need to turn this back far enough for my chuck to grab it. So right here is plenty good. And I have a very nice clean finish on there. If you can see some of the chips that bit makes. Let's see if I can find some. That's some very, very fine little chips. That was a 4 thousandths depth of cut. Well, 2 thousandths per side. And I can't take any more than that with this bit because it's such a knife edge bit. It'll burn the tip off of it. I don't really have a radius on the tip of it. So I do have a pretty grainy finish just because I have a knife edge on there and I have a point. But I want that point so I can get really close into my shoulders And yeah, that might cause a strength issue, but not for what I'm doing right here. Okay, now I'm gonna face it off the same way that I faced off earlier, just with this bit in a really fine feed and tilt it in just a little bit. So I have a very clean register on the face. Now I'm going to switch out to the boring bar. Come in and square it up. Actually, let's see how far I can get it. I'm going to leave it at that angle. Because right now, I'm just going to clean the bore up. Whenever I come in to do my shoulders, I'm going to have to straighten this tool post up so that it's perpendicular with it, so that it'll be making a nice clean shoulder instead of at an angle and putting a chamfer on everything. So right now, I'm just going to run it at this angle, give me a little bit more lead so that it'll eat a little bit better. Alright, looks like I'll take another 6. Alright, I cleaned up all the way. Now I'm going to cut a little 60-degree or 30-degree chamfer right here so I can get in and get a measurement. This tube doesn't turn as well as the other tube does. There's a noticeable difference. Okay, and that was just so that I can get a good measurement on here, because I am going to try to match bores with the other piece, but right now I'm not that worried about it because I will hone both of them, but I want to know for reference what this ID is. And my ID mics say 2.022, so that's fine. Now I can come in and start on my pocket. I'm going to go ahead and cut the female connection first, and I'm going to have to square my boring bar up for that. But it doesn't leave as nice of a finish in there. It might look okay, but it's a lot grainier. The other material cut very, very smooth compared to that. But it'll do. I'm just ready to get one of these things done. And I can run a 3-stone hone, like a cylinder hone, in there until it's baby butt smooth. And get pretty close. Because I'll snug both tubes up together and run the hone through the whole thing. And then I'm putting aluminum inserts in here. So. Alright, I need to get my lathe cleaned up a little bit so I can run my travel dial. Okay, I'll bring my bit in until it touches the surface. And put my travel dial. I need to make one that actually mounts to the ways, because that would be much nicer. That way I could just slide it over and it won't be down here where it's a lot of stuff flying and everything. You could even put it on the back side, but then it makes it hard when you want to move it out of the way. So now I've got my travel dial zeroed. My bit's touching my work right here. And I always make sure that I at least go 20-30 thousandths so that it will return each time. And I might lose a thousandths here or there, but most stuff, that's plenty good enough. Okay. Consult my drawings here so I can get an idea of what I'm cutting. And actually, I could go ahead and cut the male on that one. It's a good thing I didn't start cutting without looking at it, because I have my female already cut right here. So I'll go ahead and cut the male. But I think that'll be tomorrow night. It's already 10 o'clock. And I don't want to do too much and then mess up again. So I'm going to go ahead and shut it down for the night and see if I can get this uploaded. I'll continue it on the next video.